allowed to operate container freight stations. They were not permanent features. They were temporary to the extent that they have decongested the port, and people had a choice of designating their cargo to a specific container freight station. But the port, having sorted out that problem by expanding their capacity, then took over their cargo back to their thingy. So what happens is the container freight stations then were without enough cargo.
They were left without business now.
But that was a known conclusion of those freight stations. They knew about it.
Because actually, a port is not supposed to be a storage facility.
It's not a storage facility.
It's supposed to be a throughput facility.
Yes.
Whereby you import your cargo, it is cleared at the port, and then as soon as possible,
get it
out.
Now, the efficiency that has been brought by the SGR, for example, in Naivasha or in Nairobi, is the fact that the cargo lands there, and what is bound for Nairobi is railed the same day or efficiently to the Nairobi port or the dry port in Naivasha or Kisumu, where the agents wait for their cargo and they clear it there. Now, what has happened, and I'll say this again, the transporters in Mombasa have refused to move from Mombasa. They must move out of Mombasa and find the cargo where it is, i.e. in the dry port Naivasha or Mombasa or Kisumu, because there is the last mile. But if you sit there and complain, they still have 1 million TEUs to transport, even then.
Because SGR can only do about 400,000 TEUs.
Yes.
Kingo, when you hear people saying that the operations of the port of Mombasa have been transferred to Nairobi and Naivasha, does it make any economic truth in that?
I think what you need to understand is that before we make a port and say that we have to have clearance areas apart from Mombasa itself, these are studies that have taken place and have economic perspectives, how it will help this country. It has taken time to do that. We cannot change in a day a model that has taken years to develop. That is one thing that we have to understand. Number two, when we talk about this port can only benefit one particular region. When you talk about benefiting one particular region, it means it has no economic effect or macroeconomic benefit to this country. So it must be demystified to cater for the entire country. So the aspect of concentrating that particular revenue, the perceived revenue in one particular region, does not make economic sense. So moving these clearance areas across the country makes a more beneficial economic effect to this country. And when we come up with such a port, before we analyze and develop such scenario, the empirical studies, it has happened in South Africa, it has happened in Nigeria. They are not cleared.
It also happened in Dubai, yeah?
It has happened in Dubai. So why are we in isolation? I think the thing is accepting that initially we used to use matatus to transport or to move from one place to another. We have borders that can move you very fast from one place to another. Coming of border does not eliminate matatus. So shifting this port clearances to Naivasha or to Kisumu or to any other place does not affect the economy of the coast. It's about the country to create other incentives to have economic avenues new within the coast, that people can clear that might is on the port.
So how then do we depoliticize the whole conversation and try to help the nation understand that, I mean, you cannot have port operations concentrated in Mombasa?
Yes. Just to mention, sorry to cut you short, the ease of doing business. If I want to import something, I don't need to go to Mombasa. I need to wait for my consignment at the dry port here in Mombasa Road.
And
in ICD. So that is the ease of doing. The cost of the monetary cost, the cost of time, the cost of convenience that has been reduced by the virtue of me as an importer not moving to Mombasa. That money I can use it to invest and create another business, another unit that can be taxed by the government. That is what the model talks about.
Even as you respond to that question, I also would want to hear from you. When you heard President William Ruto says that he has ordered the port operations to revert back to Mombasa, what was your understanding of that statement?
Okay, rejoin what Kingo has said, and really the truth about the situation we're faced with is, for example, if you look at Naivasha, and I'll quote Naivasha because I'm very familiar with what's going on there, manufacturing products for exports, And if my memory serves me right, they will be generating about 600 containers a day of manufactured products. First of all, as you have rightly said, there is a new ecosystem